I love this story because it combines radical right-wing arrogance with real estate and tax law, which are all things that I enjoy. We have now learned that ridiculous radical right robot, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, filed homestead exemptions or homestead declarations, as they are sometimes called, on 2 homes, which is against the law. This is, as we like to say, a fraud. She made a fraud. Let's first talk about homestead exemptions. A homestead exemption is a legal declaration that lets you say, this home I own, this is my primary residence. It is where I am sheltered. And in exchange for such a declaration, the value of your home is protected from property tax claims, from creditors, from forced sales, and a number of other circumstances. In normal cases, the way debt works in the U.S. is that you can have situations where you could be forced to sell an asset to pay off a creditor or a debt that you owe. A homestead exemption or declaration lets you say, this property is my home. This is my residence. This is where I live. It's not a second home. It's not an investment property. And so by declaring it a homestead, you can't be forced to sell that home to pay your debts. They can't leave you homeless to pay your debts. This is separate from foreclosure, but it's a very particular type of declaration. In some states, only some portion of the home's value is protected, and that amount can vary. Texas has no dollar value limit. Some states do. And additionally, many states give you a tax break because you do not have to pay property taxes on some portion of your home's value. So if a certain state exempts $100,000 of value with a homestead declaration, if the house is worth $500K, but $100K is exempt, you pay property taxes as if the house were worth only $400,000. Okay, but here's the rule. You can only do it on one property. Channel 2 Action News in Atlanta did an investigation and found that Marjorie Taylor Greene and her husband have 2 active homestead exemptions, which is against the law in Georgia. The Greenes are getting a tax break on 2 homes in 2 different counties. Channel 2 News pulled the Greenes homestead exemption application in Fulton County and in Floyd County. In the Floyd County application, Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband left blank the line which says, do you have an exemption on another property? That is a lie by omission. I recall talking to my real estate attorney about this a couple of years back. And I asked when we were talking about different transactions I've been involved in and the homestead declaration, I asked, how often do people get caught for this? He said, I know of many people that do this and they do get away with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to have gotten caught. Fulton County tax officials confirm that Greene never stopped getting the tax break on the Fulton property, but declared it on the Floyd County property. Now, there are, at least in theory, consequences for doing this. This is defrauding the state, to be clear. The penalty for filing a false homestead exemption, according to Georgia code, is twice your tax bill. For the Greenes, that would be about $12,000. There were 2 statements put out by Greene's office. The first statement was, this is merely a pathetic smear. That was statement number 1. This escalated. And then the second statement was calling this fake news and saying this was just an error by Fulton County. The Greenes are claiming they requested the homestead exemption be canceled for the Fulton County, but maybe because of COVID, I don't know, they never did it, but now they've got it all fixed up. So she's going with that. She's going with, we did everything right, but something COVID, and it prevented it from happening. That doesn't explain why they didn't answer the question, do you have an active homestead exemption on another property right now? The answer was yes. They left that blank. It seems like a clear line by omission. Maybe it was lost in the mail, which was destroyed by Donald Trump's crony, Louis DeJoy. But the simplest explanation is that this is fraud. Marjorie Taylor Greene is making up that she tried canceling it and that they intentionally lied and they got caught, plain and simple. Now, the question of whether there will be consequences, you all know how that works when it comes to people in positions of power in the United States. So I don't know, but I'm certainly not confident that there will be any consequences, but an apparent fraud committed by Marjorie Taylor Greene and her husband. The party of rules and law and order and all of this stuff. Don't forget that.